In the heart of a vast desert, under the blazing gaze of the midday sun, sand dunes stretched as far as the eye could see. In the distance a lone figure walked, his silhouette a testament to the scorching heat. As he ventured further, the wind picked up, carrying with it the whispers of an ancient story. This was Moses, and he was about to encounter something that would change his life forever. The camera pans out, revealing the immensity of the desert, emphasizing Moses' solitude. The sun beats down relentlessly, casting long shadows that dance and distort in the shimmering heat haze. Closer to the ground, the sand ripples and shifts, disturbed by the movement of a few lizards seeking refuge from the heat. But the vast majority of the desert remains untouched, silent, and still. It is a place where time seems to stand still. As we focus on Moses, we see him adjust his simple shepherd's staff, his rough-spun tunic and leather sandals seeming strangely out of place against the backdrop of this harsh, unforgiving landscape. His face, weathered by years under the open sky, is etched with lines that tell stories of a life lived close to the land and its rhythms. Despite the heat, a gentle breeze ruffles his hair, carrying with it the faint scent of distant rain. A small flock of goats and sheep graze peacefully nearby, their bells adding a soft, soothing sound to the otherwise deafening silence of the desert. The animals seem content, oblivious to the turmoil that lies ahead. Suddenly, a commotion among the flock pulls Moses' attention away from the distant mountains. He turns slowly, his eyes squinting against the glare of the sun, and what he sees makes him stop in his tracks. A bush not far off, no larger than the others that dot the landscape, bursts into bright, golden flames. But the branches of the bush are not consumed by the fire. Instead, they remain green and vibrant, as if untouched by the inferno that engulfs the rest of the plant. The camera zooms in on the burning bush, the flames dancing and flickering in a mesmerizing display. The heat waves rising from the bush distort the air around it, creating an otherworldly atmosphere. A soft, ethereal glow emanates from the bush, bathing the surrounding area in a divine light. Moses stands transfixed, his eyes wide with wonder and a hint of fear. He takes a hesitant step forward, then another. His face, usually so calm and serene, is now etched with concern and awe. As he approaches the bush, the light flickers and plays across his features, highlighting the determination and courage that lie beneath his gentle exterior. The flames seem to reach out towards him, beckoning him closer. Yet there is no sound, no roar or crackle, only an eerie silence that amplifies the mystery of the burning bush. Then, as if sensing his presence, the flames flare up, their intensity growing. The light from the bush becomes brighter, more radiant, and in that moment a dramatic pause, a deep, resonant voice echoes through the stillness. "Moses, Moses," the voice booms, commanding attention. It seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at once, a disembodied presence that reverberates through the very core of Moses' being. The voice, like the flames, demands attention. It's not a sound that can be ignored. Moses, with his face now etched with surprise and a dawning realization. He stops in his tracks, his eyes fixed on the burning bush. For a moment there is only silence, broken only by the gentle bleating of the sheep. Finally he speaks, his voice filled with reverence and awe. "Here I am," he replies, taking another step closer to the burning bush. The light from the bush falls on Moses' face, casting long shadows that dance and flicker across his features. In that moment everything changes. The desert, once just a barren expanse of sand and rock, becomes a place of divine revelation. The burning bush, no longer just a strange and wondrous sight, becomes a symbol of God's presence. As Moses kneels before the bush, the light intensifies, enveloping him in its warm embrace. He removes his sandals, a sign of reverence and submission in the presence of the divine. The ground beneath him glows slightly, as if the very earth recognizes the holiness of the moment. This is holy ground, and in that moment something extraordinary happens. The bush bursts into a heavenly light, blindingly bright, yet somehow gentle and kind. When the light fades, what Moses sees takes his breath away. Before him stands the God of his fathers, not in the form of a roaring lion or a thundering bull, but in a way that transcends any earthly image. God's voice, like the light, fills Moses with a sense of overwhelming peace and power. I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, he says, and in that moment the words echo with all the weight and wonder of history. Moses, overwhelmed with a sudden surge of emotion, covers his face, not in fear, but in reverence and humility. He has just seen and heard the Almighty, and he knows in that moment that he is in the presence of something far greater than himself. Moses' hands tremble slightly. The staff slips from his grasp and falls to the sand unnoticed. His face, usually so strong and resolute, is now bowed in submission and awe. And then, as if sensing Moses' turmoil, God speaks again, his voice a soothing balm to Moses' troubled spirit. I have seen the misery of my people who are enslaved in Egypt, and I have heard their cries because of their suffering. I know their oppressors. I am come down to deliver them out of the hands of the Egyptians and to bring them up out of the land into a land flowing with milk and honey. As God speaks, images flash across the screen, depicting the suffering of the Israelites in Egypt. We see them toiling under the harsh gaze of their Egyptian taskmasters, their bodies bent with exhaustion, their faces etched with despair. The whips crack, the overseers shout, and the Israelites cry out in pain and frustration. The camera lingers on their faces, capturing their anguish and longing for freedom. The desert, once a place of isolation and solitude, has become the site of a divine encounter that will change history. The burning bush, a symbol of God's presence and power, stands tall against the endless expanse of the desert. The staff lying forgotten in the sand, a reminder of the ordinary life that Moses is about to leave behind. And the voice of God, echoing across the desert, a promise of hope and deliverance for a people held captive by their oppressors. I have chosen you, Moses, though you are but a man, and Pharaoh, though he is king of Egypt, hardened-hearted, that you may know that I am the Lord. Thus says the Lord, when you have brought them out of Egypt, I will make this people a nation, and I will honor them with a kingdom and a land flowing with milk and honey. Moses looks up, his eyes filled with a newfound determination. But there is also a hint of fear, a recognition of the magnitude of the task that lies ahead. Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the children of Israel out of Egypt? And who am I that I should speak to Pharaoh? Surely I neither have the ability nor the wisdom. God's voice, though firm, is also gentle, reassuring, a reminder that Moses is not alone in this endeavor. I will be with you, and this will be a sign to you that I have sent you. When you have brought them out of Egypt, you shall serve God at this mountain. As God finishes speaking, a hush falls over the desert. The flames of the burning bush seemed to flicker in anticipation, as if sharing in the momentousness of this exchange. The staff at Moses' feet, a simple shepherd's tool, waits patiently for its master's call to action. The camera lingers on Moses' face, capturing the transformation that is taking place within him. Fear gives way to resolve, doubt to faith. Moses, the humble shepherd, has just been chosen for a task of monumental importance. He is to lead his people out of slavery and into freedom. And in that moment he knows that he is not just a man, but a vessel of God's will. There is a pause, a pregnant silence that hangs heavy with anticipation. And then, as if in response to Moses' questioning, God speaks again. This time, his voice resonates with a power that shakes the very foundations of the desert. I am who I am. As God speaks these words, a majestic golden glow envelops the scene. The burning bush blazes with renewed intensity, casting flickering shadows that dance across the desert sand. The air crackles with divine energy, and the very fabric of reality seems to shimmer and distort. Emerging from the heart of the light, the divine name, I am who I am, appears in glowing golden Hebrew letters that hover above the burning bush. These are not just letters, but a revelation, a glimpse into the very essence of divinity. Moses, overwhelmed, looks on in awe and reverence. The letters seem to pulse with power, each stroke a testament to the eternal nature of the divine. They form a circle, a continuous loop that symbolizes eternity, reminding Moses and us that God is without beginning and without end. As the letters fade, the burning bush settles, the light subsides, and the desert returns to its hushed stillness. But the quiet is different now, charged with the weight of revelation. Moses, still kneeling, reaches out slowly, as if to touch the remnants of the divine light. His fingers find only air where the letters had been, yet the message echoes in his heart. God has revealed his name, not as a word to be spoken or written, but as a concept to be experienced, a living, breathing truth that transcends language and form. The camera focuses on Moses' hand, which trembles slightly, as if reaching not just for something physical, but for a deeper, more profound understanding of the divine. His face, usually so calm and serene, is etched with wonder and awe. Then, as if in response to Moses' unspoken questions, God speaks again. Thus shall you say to Pharaoh, Thus says the Lord, God of the Hebrews, Let my people go, that they may serve me, if indeed they will hearken to your voice. And if you will not let them go, behold, I will smite the land of Egypt with all its increase with blood. As God concludes his message, the burning bush flares up again, a visual manifestation of his words, a reminder of the power that lies behind them. Moses, his eyes shining with determination, rises to his feet. His staff, forgotten in the sand, now seems like an insignificant relic of his past life. And thus Moses fled from Pharaoh and from the angel of death, and dwelt in the land of Midian, and there he stayed for 40 years. And that's when God said to Moses, Take your staff, and when you stretch out your hand over the river, the water shall turn to blood. So Moses and Aaron did so in the sight of Pharaoh, and the water in the river turned to blood. I will take your staff, Aaron, and with it perform signs before Pharaoh, and they shall go out from among the Egyptians, and I will bring them out from the land of Egypt. Take hold of your brother, Aaron, and take for yourselves a rod. And when you stretch out your hand with your brother's rod, they shall become serpents before Pharaoh. For I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and though many signs and wonders shall happen in the land of Egypt, yet he will not listen to you, that he may know that I am the Lord. When you have caused the blood to cease from the water, speak to Aaron, that he takes his rod and casts it down before Pharaoh, and it shall become a serpent. So Moses and Aaron went into Pharaoh, and did just as the Lord had commanded. At Pharaoh's command, Aaron cast down his rod before him and his officials, and it became a serpent. Then Pharaoh called Moses and Aaron, and said to them, You are wise. I know of your sorcery. You shall surely die, you and your brother in whose sight I have done these signs. Then Moses and Aaron were fearful, and that's how Moses got the signs and wonders from God. To know more about the amazing story of Moses, stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.